And you're very welcome back. A few months ago, I received a CD in the post for my radio program. Some guy said, look, you got to play this CD. And this guy, when I looked at it first, I said, oh yeah, he's from United States of America. Yeah, lo and behold, he's from Long Island. But then I discovered he's from Kilbride in County Mayo. Love's going to live here, and my in-house guest this evening will be Tony Kelly. We'll have a chat with Tony, but we've got to look at what he's doing out in the United States of America.
Oh, the sun's gonna shine in my life once more. Love's gonna live here again. Things gonna be the way they were before. Love's gonna live here again. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here again. No more loneliness, only happiness. Love's gonna live here again. I hear bells a-ringing, I hear birds a-singing. Love's gonna live here again. I hear bees a-humming, and I know the day's coming. Love's gonna live here again. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here again. No more loneliness, only happiness. Love's gonna live here again. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here again. No more loneliness, only happiness. Love's gonna live here again. Love's gonna live here again.
Love's going to live here. Tony Kelly from Long Island, New York, but of course, born in Kilbride in County Mayo. Thanks for coming in to us.
How are you doing, Frank? Thanks for having me here.
Well, it's our pleasure to have you here. Of course, Tony, people would say, Mayo, great county for immigration, but in all of Ireland has immigration. You were born into a family of 9 youngsters, and you came up the hard way, as they would say.
I was the oldest, yeah.
Yeah.
of 9.
Your mum and dad had a pub,
Yes,
in Kilbride in County
Kilbride,
Mayo.
yeah.
What was the name of the pub?
the wood cabin.
The Wood Cabin. Is it still in Kilbride?
It's still there, but it's not. I believe it's closed now. Actually, at the moment,
It's
Yeah.
closed at the moment. Yeah, pubs are not having a great time here in Ireland.
Yeah.
But music, first of all, you wanted to get into the music business, you wanted to sing along. But a little bird told me that you, as a youngster, from the pub where you were living, of course you couldn't go into the bar at that age, but there was a dance hall not so far away from you. So
That's
you
right,
sneaked in there a few times.
That's right. Yeah, it was called the Diamond, and they called it the Club Crystal afterwards. And any chance I got a chance to sneak away from the pub I worked in, I used to sneak in there to the dance halls and go and see the Indians or Big Tom or Rolly Daniels or whoever was playing at the time. And all I wanted to was get up in front of that stage and idolize them. And that's kind of where it started for me. Like, I got the bug there to say I'd love to be have my own band one day.
Yeah, and it now has happened for you.
Yes.
But you had to go to New York to find a band and find your feet as regards recording songs. But take us back to your younger days in Kilbride in County Mayo. And I know that your mum and dad, obviously, they left the bar business.
That's right, yeah.
You've moved to Maynooth in County Kildare.
Yeah, up in 79 there. We're going back there to my grandparents, both sides of them, when I was young, 6 years of age. They used to play records and on the both sides of the family, and I used to tune in like that, to Jim Reeves, Johnny Cash, Don Williams and all them, and Merle Haggard. And that's where I really got the bug. And I have to thank the grandparents for playing them records back in those days. But I knew there was something there for me one day because I had a decent voice, you know. So that's how it started, you know, for me. And then I used to idolize Elvis and Merle, Haggard, Johnny Cash, and all them in America. That was the starting bug for me. And of course, the Irish singers over here, I used to love Rolly Daniels, Gene Stewart, Ray Lylam, and all them good singers. Joe
Larry
Dolan,
Cunningham was
Larry
another
Cunningham,
fan
of
of
course,
yours,
yeah, another
or
fan of
you were a
mine.
fan of Larry?
Yeah, Larry Cunningham. Later on, Chuck Owens and Dermot O'Brien and Brendan Grace, a whole lot of them. John McAvoy, I idolized them all, like, you know.
Yeah, and you left out Philomena Begley.
Sorry about that, yeah. I had to think about the women, Philomena Begley and,
Oh, yeah, and
of
Susan
course,
McCann.
and Susan McCann
Yeah.
and Margot. All of them I used to listen to, you know. They were all, each one of them are brilliant, you know.
Right. You're in New York. You're living in New York. You're a carpenter by trade.
That's right, yeah.
Right. So you moved, I know you moved from Kildare to London or England.
I went to England for 2 years in England. I worked in the pubs, and then I immigrated to New York in 1986.
Right.
So I'm still there now to this day.
When you arrived in America, the one of the things that happened, my old gossam, as they would say, heading to New York, and obviously you found a job, you found your footing after a couple of years, and obviously you got employment, no problem, because you had the trade. But you followed on to the music. The one thing you've told me, that Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings.
All those
Can you
boys,
tell us a little bit about the story of Waylon Jennings?
Was a friend of mine, you know, in the pub one time, and he was an old-timer from Meath, and he was big into country music, and he said to me, I was bartending at the time, and he says to me, would you like to go and see Waylon Jennings? Jeez, I said, I'd love to, you know. Yeah. And he said, the only reason why I'm bringing you with me, he says, I have a picture here of Johnny Cash, signed by Johnny Cash in 1955. And he says, I'd love to get a signature from Waylon Jennings. Well, he says, well, we'll go and see, can we get that signature, see what happens. So off we went. And we got into the show. We sat down and listened to Waylon Jennings playing there with Jessie, Colter. So they took a break, and they went out to the bus outside the hall there. And I said, give me that photograph there, and I'll go out and see, can I get a signature for you? So when I went outside to the bus, it was pouring from the heavens from rain, and I had an umbrella at that time with me, thank God, and it was raining.
Was it an Irish umbrella?
It was, it was.
It had the tricolour on it.
One's going this way and this way, the needle, you know. So I stood out there outside the bus, and I said, let me see, can I get an autograph from Waylon Jennings? And nothing was happening, and I was waiting and waiting, and next thing, two people walked across the street, and he's getting closer to me, and it was Robert Duvall, the actor. He's a good friend of Waylon Jennings, I found out later. So I said, how's it going, Robert? And I met him by standing out there with an umbrella.
How's it going with your Mio accent?
That's right, yeah. And then the bus door closed, and I said, I'm not leaving here till I get a signature from, an autograph, I should say, from Waylon Jennings. Next thing, Jessie, Colter, stuck her head out of the bus. She says, oh my God, she says, I got to get into the stage. I says, don't worry about it. I'm here to escort you from here to the stage. That's my job.
To Jessie?
To Jessie Colter. So she grabs my arm, and we start walking in, and she says, oh, you're from Ireland? She says, oh, I love Ireland and everything. And we got.
But she thought you were.
Oh, she thought I was working there, like, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I pulled a fast one. And I got into the backstage, and she says, now you go out and get my husband. I said, no problem, that's my job. So I went back out to the bus, and there he was waiting, and I put the umbrella, big tall man there, and walking along like that into the backstage, and Jessie introduced me to Waylon Jennings and the daughter and the band and everything, and then I took out the picture. Say, could you sign this autograph? And he says, where'd you get that? I said, that's my friend down there. He says, oh, I'd sign that, no problem. And that's how I got to meet Waylon Jennings and Jessie Colter from not even working, and I wasn't part of the staff, but I pulled a fast one, you know. So it
takes a me old man to do that,
oh, yeah,
does it?
Yeah. And your man said, where the hell are you? He says, don't worry about it, there's your autograph, you know. But it worked out.
Okay. And you're very welcome back. My in-house guest is a young man from Kilbride in County Mayo and Long Island in New York.
That's
Tony,
right, Frank, yeah.
Tony, we played your idol one of your idols as in Waylon Jennings. Your own band that you formed in New York. Tell us a little bit about that.
I was working in a country and western bar 20 years ago, and I was a bartender there, and I used to be in charge of all the country and western bands there. So I was bartending there for a while, and I used to see a lot of country and western bands. But there was two particular guys who played in a lot of country and western bands, and I got talking to them, you know, a lot 20 years ago. But in the back of my mind, I says, if I ever have a band, I would love to have those two guys in my band. So I hadn't seen them in 18 years. So 18 years later, 2 years ago, I just bumped into them again, and I told them my story, and they were delighted to see me. And they says, we'd love to start something with you, and that's how it happened, you know.
So you have a full band. You have a bass player, you have a drummer, you have a steel player,
pedal, yeah,
and
guitar
player.
yeah, yeah.
And you do the vocals.
I do the vocals, yeah.
How difficult is it? None of those guys, I believe, are Irish.
No, they're funny.
So you're working with.
They're American, and I believe they're Jewish background, you know.
Right.
But they're the top musicians in New York, and I'm very lucky to have them behind me.
Yeah.
You know.
You worked on your first album, and I mean, full credit to you, because it was obviously your lifelong ambition, from leaving County Mayo and heading for Kildare.
Yeah.
And then heading to England. And then heading to New York.
That's right. Yeah.
So you've done the circle.
Yes.
But you found the album.
Found the album, yes.
And I know it's not going to be your last album either.
No, I'm working on another one now, actually, at the moment. You know, and I'll hopefully have it ready in 2 months, maybe, or less. You know, and you'll be the first man to get it when we have it done. You know. Frank.
Well, we'll certainly play it, not alone on our TV program, but we'll certainly play it on our radio show as well, because we've been playing tracks from your current album, which is excellent. How did you manage to pick so many great tracks from this album?
Well, I picked, like, you know, Merle Haggard is probably my favourite singer, and I picked Elvis was another one, and I thought to do a little bit of rock and roll and a bit of country in that particular CD. But the next CD I'm doing is all country, you know.
Right.
So,
What about including a couple of the great Irish ballads on it? Maybe you think about that as well.
yeah, I'm going to work on that a little later, you know. I didn't, you know, country and music and rock and roll was my first love, you know. But I'm going to have to tackle some of the Irish songs soon, you know.
Did you talk to your band about ever coming back to Ireland with Tony Kelly fronting the band, The Real Deal?
That's it, The Real Deal is the name of the band.
I like the way you picked it.
Yeah,
picked the name. It's very good.
Not too bad, no. But that's our dream, is to hopefully one day come back to Ireland with my band and play a few gigs. And I'd love to bring my musicians here, because that's their dream. They've never been in Ireland.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. What does your musicians, what do they know about Ireland?
All they know is they just love, they're so thankful for the Irish to love country music, and they know that information. And that's one of the main reasons why they want to come here. And because they know the fans here, there's country music is huge in Ireland, and England, and Norway, and Scotland, and it's actually bigger over here than in America, you know. But Nashville, of course, is big, of course. But they just want to come to Ireland, and hopefully it'll happen soon.
The Irish community in the greater New York area, and of course the USA, but the greater New York area that you're much aware, I believe there was joy and celebration from all the County Mayo people when your County Mayo man from Castlebar, Enda Kenny, was elected as Taoiseach of our country. Tell us a little bit about that story.
The Enda Kenny?
Yes.
Well, you're talking about around Paddy's Day there, was it?
Absolutely, yeah.
I would happen to be there, and you actually interviewed me on the radio there on Paddy's Day, and I was very thankful for that, Frank. I appreciate it. But Enda Kenny he's something else. He was jumping around on Paddy's Day, and
this is the Mayo party coming out.
Yeah, they're coming out and then jumping over fences and everything up Fifth Avenue, and he's a fit man, Enda Kenny, you know. But it was great to see him out there. Actually, I was delighted, you know.
But I know the Irish people love him in love him in America.
Oh yeah.
I know before you leave us and you're heading back on the plane.
That's right, to New York.
From Dublin to New York tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I'm sure you had a wonderful few weeks off over the Christmas here in Ireland.
Yeah.
And you went to visit all your friends and see all your favourite artists as well.
That's right, yeah.
I'm sure there's a few people you'd like to say hello to before you go back.
Oh yeah, I'd love to say hello to, first of all, to my parents, my mother and father, and to my brothers and sisters.
Tony and Amy Kelly.
Tony and Amy Kelly, yeah. Up in Maynooth there, and to both sides of my family, the Kellys and the Quinlans especially, and to all my friends as well here in Ireland. I wish them a happy new year, And also, I'll just reach out to Gene Stewart. You know, he's a good friend of mine, and he was one of my idols here in Ireland. Just say hello to him, and especially to my friends in New York, and to my band members, The Real Deal. And hopefully we can get over here to Ireland soon. And I want to thank Frank Kilbride for having me on the show. And hopefully we get back here soon. And thanks very much, Frank, for having me on the show.
And thank you very much, Tony Kelly, for joining us this evening. Safe trip back to New York in the morning, Tony. And we wish you well. We look forward to seeing you in around St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, you will. You will, Frank.
Please,
sure.
please God.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, we're going to finish up with one of your tracks from your album. It's one entitled "Lonesome Fugitive," and that's going to take us to the end of our show for this evening. We do hope you've enjoyed what we've tried to do for you this evening. We look forward to the pleasure of your company the next time, and may the good Lord take a liking to you, and not too soon.
City. I'm on the run, the highway is my home. I raised a lot of cane back in my younger days. Why Mama used to pray my crops would fail. Now I'm a hunted fugitive with just two ways: outrun the law or spend my life in jail. I'd like to settle down, but they won't let me. A fugitive must be a rolling stone. Down every road there's always one more city. I'm on the run, the highway is my home. I'm lonely, but I can't afford the luxury of having one I love to come along. She'd only slow me down and then catch up with me.